cartoon. I haven't seen that in so long.
You think Richie Rich is what a millionaire looks like, and you're in your mind. That's
they have to be
what it is.
multimillionaires. There's no way they only had 1 million.
Exactly. So now you know.
Now you have a concept of it.
Now you have a concept, but then there's this whole thing called the millionaire next door, where they're the unassuming millionaire, where they driving the Toyota or the Prius or something like that, and they live in a 200, 300, 400.
We could be a millionaire next door.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hard Rock Hustle podcast. My name is Anthony, and I'm joined here by my beautiful wife, Janoka. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Busy thinking about baby shower planning and house hunting.
Good. Well, that sounds like fun.
You're with it. You're along with that, but that's what I'm busy with.
So welcome, guys. We'll be talking about everyday hustle as it relates to business, entrepreneurship, relationships, and life. So we'll start with it. I saw this topic online, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. It was the CEO of WAG. If you guys don't know what WAG is, it's like a dog walking company. I think they were bought by Rover.com, and it's like a peer-to-peer dog or animal watching platform. We actually used to do this. We were trying to pay off debt. We used to watch dogs, and I used to walk dogs too. But
you did that maybe once.
I walked one dog. I walked one dog.
Oh, husky or something. I'm like, what?
But he had put on the CEO of WAG put on LinkedIn or Twitter or something, and he said it was like a poll question, and he said, would you allow or would you want an employee to have a side hustle, or would you have a problem with it? Would you hire someone if they had a side hustle? And that was the question, and he posted that, and he didn't give an opinion on it. He just posted it. And it's funny, his platform is mainly for people who have side hustles.
Yeah. So I guess I think it's so many factors, but would the person know the factors? I don't know. Like, so with side hustles, it can vary. A side hustle could be something I do on the weekend. It could be something I just do after work. It could be a whole business. It could be, so I don't know. I think it depends. So to answer that, I probably would say no. Or yes, I would hire someone with a side hustle, because if you're calling it a side hustle, maybe it's not interfering with your day-to-day life.
I mean,
I don't know.
we call our cleaning business a side hustle. And is it really a side hustle?
When we started off, we called it that, but now it's not that. It wasn't that from the beginning, probably. Yeah. We just didn't identify it as that. So I would say yes, I would hire, especially I think in this day and age, a lot of jobs aren't really paying enough. So
yeah, that's a good point.
People need side hustles. People need other income, and why stop you from making income outside of whatever you're doing for me? If I was a company, is how I see it.
I agree. And I think for me, it's along the lines of, it shows me the different type of person you are too. So if I had an employee and I knew they were grinding outside of work, to me, that's hustler. That's a person that's going hard for whatever they want in life.
Do you think that translates to how they work?
I think it translates to how you work, because if you are hustling for something that you want outside of work, that means you are showing up. That means you are enthused about something outside of what you're doing here. And that makes you a more passionate person, right? Because now you are showing us that you are hungry. It may not be for the job that you have, but you are hungry for something.
Hungry for something.
And I asked that question when I interview people on my job. I asked them, like, what do you do outside of work? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? Do you have hobbies? And they don't have anything.
I don't really know that I have a hobby either, though. I always feel weird about it, because I'm like, I don't think I have a hobby.
You definitely have a hobby.
What's my hobby?
What's your hobby? That's the question. I'm interviewing you. What's your hobby outside
of work? I'm asking you. You work with me. You're with me 24/7. My only hobby would be working out.
Oh, right. That's a hobby. That counts.
Okay, but people have hobbies. Like it's not exciting. Like,
how many hobbies do you think a person needs?
I don't know, but like people play the piano, or they
listen,
or they sing.
If you say you're passionate about working out, and I ask you what are your hobbies, I'm like, that's fine with me. That's an answer. It doesn't have to be a job that you're passionate about or a side hustle.
I guess you just think like, so if somebody said like watching TV, is that enough for you?
Nah. You're not the person that's gonna have a side hustle, so you aren't even in this question if that's your answer.
Wow. Okay. So now we judging the watching TV.
Yeah, I like TV. Like, okay, cool. All
right. That literally might be the only thing that you do after like work.
That's fine. It's just not fine for me.
Okay. All right. Fair.
But I want to know that you're passionate, or you do something that you enjoy outside of work. That's all.
But I think also a lot of jobs, maybe it could just be frowned upon having more jobs, having a job outside of them. either like for my specific job, I understand like conflict of interest type thing because I'm a therapist, so it depends on what you're doing, whatever. But for some jobs, it's like they don't want you to have anything outside of them, and I'm like, but why? Like if it's not interfering with how I'm showing up here, I guess maybe because they feel like they can't prove that it's not interfering. Like, are you more tired because you're working another job? But I could be more tired because I'm up with my kid. Like, you know what I mean?
They not watch you 24/7, so now they're fearful of you.
Yeah, of the unknown.
Putting your time in. And even with me, when I'm at work, it's like, all right, I try not to let my side hustles interfere with my job, but at the end of the day, your job doesn't know that. So if I find that you do have a side hustle, and it in my mind, it may interfere with your time at the job, it's like, all right, if you stop that side hustle, could you put more time in or more energy into the job that you're currently doing?
Right. That's what they wonder. No.
How you know that?
I'm saying no for me.
Okay.
If I wanted to put more energy, I would. I would show up more than I need to show up if I felt like it was necessary. I mean, that may not be the same for everyone, and I understand the business side of it, of why it would be a worry. But like I said, in this day and age, I wouldn't want to stump anybody's growth outside of, because your job, like, you have life outside of work.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't want to stop whatever goals you have with your family and stuff like that. Because you can find other people if it came down to that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. But.
So when you talk about side hustles, and the question goes back to, all right, would you hire someone to do a job if they had a side hustle? You're saying you would do it, but if you're an employer and now you are running your company based off of the people that are doing the job, and you know in the back of their mind that they're doing the side hustle because either A, they're not getting enough money, or B, they need passions, how do you stop them from, not stop them, but how do you make sure that they're putting 110% into what you've built?
Nobody's putting 110% into what they built. Let me rephrase, because then people could be like, I put 110% in my job. If you think about it, for most people, you have a 9 to 5. How many hours are you really working at that 9 to 5? I mean, maybe if you're like a nurse or a teacher, like those are kind of like definitely
because you got to be physically in front of people.
Yeah, those are like definitely on the clock, and I'm sure there's other roles like that.
You can't not work as a teacher either.
Right, you're in front of like 30 people, exactly, nurse and stuff like that. So there's certain jobs I get, that you're like there. 20, like I'm on 8 hours, they get every single 8 hour. But realistically, I think that if you actually measure, like put a timer on as to how many hours you are really spending at the job or doing work for the job at your 9 to 5, it probably would show you that you ain't giving the 110%.
Yeah.
So I want to say majority of people aren't. Doesn't mean anybody isn't.
Is that because that there's not enough work to be done, or that means that
I don't think that is necessary.
So we don't need to be there for 8 hours to do the job.
Listen, no, we don't need to be there for 8 hours. We don't need to be 5 days a week. No, I need a nurse shift, 12 hours, 3 days a week, and call it a day. Like, but no, seriously, I don't think that people need to be there 8 hours, because I don't think that people are necessarily always working for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
Well, if you get a lunch break, so 7 hours straight, however that looks. But I don't think that people are giving that amount. I could be wrong. Let's check the stat. Maybe there's a stat out there. Maybe there's a report or research.
Maybe. We don't got that stat. So both of us say we'll definitely allow our employee to work that side hustle.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, like what employees do, I mean, we don't have any employees, but we have operations manager for the virtual assistant business. So I would think like if she has something else on the side, I wouldn't be shocked or anything. I mean, it's not like I'm paying you 6 figures or anything. But maybe at some point we will have employees that we are able to do that. But once again, I don't know that I feel like I should dictate what you do outside of work.
No, I agree. And then it's funny because I had somebody who worked with us at my job, and they quit or they resigned, I guess, and they worked a side hustle, and people didn't understand why they worked that side hustle. And
okay.
It kind of goes back to me as like, I understand it completely because I'm in that same situation, but no one would really understand why. Well,
was it or was it like management?
Usually management.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you make good money. Why do you need to work? Why do you need to work more? It's like, in my opinion, there's always more money to be made.
Yeah.
So I don't need to limit myself based on the money I'm making here because I'm limited by how much you're able to give me. And as a manager, I know that you're limited by your budget, by the people above you.
Right.
So when you're going out and you're getting other jobs, we worked at Equinox for like $9 an hour. Mine was 9. Yours was like 11.
When I became a manager as the front desk, yes, but it started at 9.
So that was my side hustle, and my management team found out, and they were like, "Well, why would you work somewhere at $9 an hour when we're paying you 6 figures?" It's like it doesn't make sense. But I'm telling them straight up, it's like I'm doing it because I'm trying to pay off debt. I got larger goals than what we're just doing here.
Yeah, and I can make more money.
My earning,
the easiest way to make more money is doing another job.
Yeah, my earning income is my earning ceiling is endless outside of my job. But here I'm capped by my hours and how much you could give me, especially if I'm salaried.
How much you say you could give me?
How much you say you could give me?
Right. So I don't disagree. But so yeah, I think I would allow someone to do that. But this episode was actually about something else. So that was just a starter for us, but. We wanted to talk about the Hartrimony and what that means. What has it become? What it is. So Hartrimony was your idea. I'm telling you, all of our businesses is your idea.
Which is a business now. It wasn't a business then.
What is it?
It was just a hashtag.
It was just a hashtag for our wedding, and then you put it on Snapchat. What was it called? Filter on Snapchat.
When we got married.
Hello? You think I'm here? I mean, were you there?
So what?
When we got married?
2016.
Okay.
So you got married May 21st, 2016. And we were trying to figure out, like, that was a time of, like, hashtags. And
hashtags in the Snapchat filter.
Events. Every event in, like, the world had a hashtag, and the events revolved around that hashtag. So we were like, we need a cool hashtag. And I was sitting around thinking about, I don't know how I came up with Hartrimony and what it is.
Wale's song.
Wale's song is Matrimony.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with Wale's song.
That's how you got the thing together.
No, that's not the story. So the Hartrimony is a play on Hartzog, which is our last name, and Matrimony, which is matrimony. So Hartrimony. So Wale's song was just Matrimony. So
that helped you. Go ahead.
We said we were going to use the Hartrimony hashtag for our Snapchat filter. And everybody who posted on social media, when you typed in Hartrimony, our hashtag would show up.
The way you did the filters back then, I think, was based off a location.
Yeah,
so
for the wedding venue. Yep.
And then the wedding venue, it popped up. Because you remember you just swipe on Snapchat and the filter showed up by location.
So when you go to the location, our hashtag would show up as the Hartrimony. So we got
who designed it?
One of my friends designed the logo itself.
Yeah.
Pretty much it's just Hartrimony is script, and it has a heart and a ring.
Yeah, the O is a ring.
Yeah. So nothing too crazy. And
that was nothing too crazy. I loved it.
Because the idea, I mean, it was a dope idea. It was my idea. It was dope. But the whole thing was just like, all right, it's a dope hashtag that we used for the wedding. That was it. We had a great day. Everyone loved the logo. Everyone loved the hashtag. Everyone loved the name.
Yes. And that was it. That's where it ended, 2016. Then that was May 2016, we got married, so we probably started the hashtag thing a month before that anyway. Then when we started our journey, we were trying to figure out a name for our page.
What journey?
Our Instagram journey, sorry. Started an Instagram page. Yeah, what journey? Our Instagram page that we started January 2017, we're like, what should we name this thing?
We were going crazy on names, too.
And somebody in our family chat was like, why don't you just use the Hartrimony? Like, it was just like, it just like flew off of their tongue. Like, duh. Like, what are we doing here? What's the discussion? And they're like, why don't you just use the Hartrimony? We're like, I don't know if we said that we were scared people don't know how to spell it. I don't know what we didn't think about it, to be honest.
We didn't think about it, but also spelling was one, and we didn't know if people would know what it was.
Yeah, we're like, they're not gonna know what it means.
People know, our family know us, obviously, but randoms that come across are like, what are they going to think it's going to mean?
Yeah. So that's what we were saying. We're like, they're not gonna know what it means, and so. But we went with it. We're like, okay, because I think anything else we were coming up with was trash, probably. Yeah. I don't even know what we were coming up with, but it didn't work. And so then we went with it. We're like, okay, we'll go with the Hartrimony. That's what we'll go with. And so to this day, when people see us, they're like, oh, it's the Hartrimony here. The Hartrimony is here. Versus like the Hartzogs, which is our really last name. But
you about to make me change the name of the podcast.
To the Hartrimony?
The Hartrimony Hustle.
As we have on our, what do we call this? Merch?
You can't buy this. This is a name brand. This is a family brand right here. Can't buy this.
As we have on the merch that only he and I has. Right now, you never know. But yeah, that's exactly the logo, by the way, with the heart and the ring. I just realized it's on your shirt. And that's how we came up with the name.
Yeah.
And that's what we stuck with.
Yeah,
and that's our YouTube page name. That's everything.
And people love it because they're like, oh, I get it. First, people don't get it when you tell them like Hartrimony, like what's that? And you're like, it's our last name and matrimony. Oh, I get it, Hartrimony.
Yeah.
It's like a dope thing. So the reason we created our Instagram page to document our journey, because we want to continue to share what the people weren't sharing on in financial literacy and generational wealth and stuff like that.
And moving to another city. We were new in Dallas.
We were just literally documenting our entire journey.
We were like newlyweds in Dallas that we discussed, it was certain things. Family, finances, and fitness. That was, I just remember.
That's exactly what it was.
So every time we posted, we would put in like parentheses what it was. Like family, fitness, whatever, things like that. Because those are big things in our life to this day. Those are big.
And we didn't know anything about branding, anything about social media,
right?
Instagram.
What you know about branding now? Would you have changed the name?
To what?
Well, I think about it because people say it should be something easy that people don't have a hard time spelling or a hard time saying. I'm just saying what the marketing experts be saying.
We are the marketing experts. How about that?
There's branding people out there that specifically do branding, specifically do marketing, and they say that.
Would you change it?
I would change it.
To what?
I don't have anything in mind, but when you think about it being something easier for people to pronounce or spell, that is what I think about. Not that I don't like our name, I do, but because of that is why I would change it. But
when you type in Hartzog on Twitter, when you type in Hartzog on Instagram, it comes up immediately. Or HARTZ, it comes up. So I think we branded ourselves pretty well with that.
Okay, sir.
So we started the Instagram page in 2017 just to document our journey, just to see how, just to have an outlet in Dallas, Texas. We were by ourselves, and we just wanted to share our story and share our journey.
And we were just talking about different things from finances to like renting versus buying, and expenses for weddings, and just different conversations. Is being married a business? Different things like that. We were discussing really.
So pretty much all the topics we would have on a podcast, we was having on Instagram in a minute.
Because Instagram only allowed a minute at that time, and while we were looking down our trash, I don't know what we were doing, but we were just like, our videos were like this. We were like looking down.
Only allowed a minute, so we're trying to fit these stories in a minute, but they were gaining traction. People were watching them, and people were
commenting and learning and stuff like that. So credit card information we were talking about. Should you allow me to? Did I want to buy a car or drop my car? I don't remember.
I think you wanted to get a car.
Something about a car. We just had different topics, and that's how we started it, and that's what the Hartrimony was, right? And it's become bigger than that. All of our, I realize that we haven't even spoken about this, but all of our publications came from
us sharing our story on the
Hartrimony. Our biggest publication has been being on Good Morning America in January 2020. 2020. And they found us
before the pandemic.
Sheesh. And they found us from like a Black Enterprise interview that someone wrote up about us that we did, and we've been on NerdWallet, Yahoo, CNN Money. Tons of.
You can't say Yahoo Finance anymore because
why?
They said that's a scammer page right there.
That's not my business. It wasn't a scam page then. Whatever. We've just been on a lot of publications that we never had to pay for.
Time.
All these things. Time.
Dallas News
that we never had to pay for.
Fox.
Through the Hartrimony. And that's
ABC.
when we only had, when
NBC.
they came to...
I can keep going, I guess.
Yeah, CNBC. When they came to us, when Good Morning America... No, we did not... What the hell? You got me tripping. When Good Morning America came to us in January 2020, I think we had 3,000 and something followers at that time.
Yeah, and we were posting. It wasn't even about the followers. It was more about just us sharing our story.
Yep.
So when they found us, it wasn't like, oh, you guys got a big...
we were on.
SoFi. It wasn't like you guys got a big following. It was like, no, we love what you guys are doing, and we love the story, which was the original reason we started the page.
Yeah. Most people knew us for debt payoff. Now I think our page has grown more for the cleaning business, but the debt payoff is really how it started. And that's why we had the Instagram page, sharing, letting people know that it's possible, letting people know what we've done. You can do it. You could do it differently. You can ask questions. We're pretty much an open book. We're always talking about our story, sharing other people's stories, letting people know what we found out from his podcast that he listened to.
And that's another major key right there too, is sharing the information. So anytime I get, if my family and friends know, obviously you, but family and friends know, anytime I get new information, I am sharing it. I'm putting it in the group chat. I'm putting it in a text message. I'm putting it on Instagram. I'm putting it in the stories. And that's the biggest thing about sharing the information that we learn, which is one of the reasons why we continue to do this journey too.
Yeah, definitely I think the knowledge from people that look like us, specifically to be a black person, people that look like us, I think is so important, because you just feel like you don't belong. And that's why people push like having black dolls and having black books and all this stuff like that, because you only see like your family. And if your family isn't doing it, then you don't know about it. You don't know that it's possible. But if you just see one person doing it that may look like you, then it feels a bit more like you can reach it, attain it.
And that's a good point too, because when I was seeing these stories on Instagram, it was all other races. Yeah. So we're talking about debt payoffs. You're seeing all these other races, which is super dope. I'm not hating, but it was like, whoa, why can't we? Where are our stories at? Where are people posting our stories? So when we got more into the space,
and I still think we're the minority in the space.
Oh
though.
yeah, definitely. Especially when it comes to like the wealth conversation, or the generational wealth, or just the financial literacy conversation. We're still the minorities, but when we started posting more, we got more networking opportunities. We learned more about other people in this space too.
Definitely. So now it's like, it's weird because sometimes, well, not so much, but like he would try to like connect with someone from Instagram or something like that, and I'd be like, what? Like, who are you going to meet with? Do we know this person? This person could be a killer.
Everybody's a killer to you.
Everybody's a killer to me. Maybe it's the New York mentality, but I ain't going to meet you anywhere unless we in Starbucks or something. I don't know. Even then, it just felt weird, but now it feels so normal that you know these people, go to dinner with them, you hang with them, you talk to them on a regular basis, text outside of Instagram, so you definitely network more through us sharing, because you see people that are like doing the same thing as you. You get in those rooms as those people. You want to hear more about their story. What was their journey? How long have they been doing it? There's people younger than us that are doing it. So all of that, I think the Instagram page has allowed us to do and really grow.
Yeah, and we turned it into a whole business brand too.
Yeah, it's a business. I mean, if you listen to one of our other episodes, it's definitely counted as a business, because money goes into this business and we show up for it constantly with the content. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead. What you about to tell them? What you about to tell? You about to say something profound. Go ahead.
No, I ain't saying nothing profound. All I'm saying is, if you don't do content, don't knock content. That's all I'm going to say, because it takes a lot of work. I don't think so much now, but at the beginning, I feel like it felt like for people with influencers, they're just taking pictures and that's it. Listen. And we don't even take them pictures how, like, you know, those other influencers are constantly taking pictures. But to just think of the content, the amount of time, energy, the amount of things you have to consume so that you can put out is a lot. Information you have to put out, to take those pictures that look good, to come up with those captions, to do the makeup, to do the hair, to do all those things that it takes to show up in a professional way, to capture your audience. It's a lot of time and money. Let's be very clear. So I am always, if I hear anybody saying like, they just do this or they just do that, it's not a just do.
Yeah, I think you gain
it takes a lot of work.
A respect for people when you start doing things yourself. Yeah. So like an example is podcasting. So we know that podcasting is work.
We always knew that. I never spoke bad about that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You like, you got to do a show up and just
That's
talking
true.
to a mic.
That's
until
true.
you realize you got to show up multiple times a week.
Consistently.
You got to come up with 2 years, 3 years.
You got to make it engaging.
People have been podcasting for 8 years now. We're only couple days, a couple months into this. So when you gain a newfound respect for people that are doing certain things. So I agree with you. I saw people on social media. I was like, Instagram, or they're not doing anything. All they do is take the pictures and show up. But when we started taking pictures and showing up, it became a whole different animal. And then
you're posing, you're prepping, you got to get the clothes. What am I gonna wear?
Yeah. And then we had to change our strategy on social media too, because we were focused on the family, fitness, and was it fun or something like that? I forgot what it was.
Family, fitness, and finances. That's what it was.
Pretty much what we're talking about here, essentially.
We still do talk about those things. I don't think we show our fitness on our page anymore because we used to put workouts out.
Yeah.
Like we used to actually put workouts out that we do, but now it's just like in our stories. Not so much, but finance and family is still big on our page. I agree.
Yeah, but we had to realize what people were asking for too. So we came to realization that people didn't want to see Blue anymore, our dog.
So okay. About that. It's the way you were promoting him on there. That's the issue.
Blue had,
but he started getting low numbers.
He had a full day, Blues Day Tuesday.
Tuesday Blues Day. You don't even know the
Blues Day Tuesday. Tuesday Blues Day, and we realized that we had to measure our analytics because if we want to take the Hartrimony brand seriously,
that's why it's a business too. Yeah, you got to look at the numbers.
We had to measure the numbers. So we said, all right, people say they love Blue. We post him on the page, and he gets no action.
He was flopping.
So
bad.
we decided, all right, let's start changing.
But when he was doing things, he was doing better. So like, when you just put him up by himself, it wasn't that much. But if we had him, like,
it was
doing
different.
Something, then maybe he would do better. But yeah, you're right. We have to figure that out and realize like, okay, this ain't working. And so that's all part of the business. Like looking at the numbers, looking at the data, the analytics. What are they sharing? What are people sharing the most? What gets the best views? When we take these professional photos, it does better. It just does better. Like it captures you, and then we can say what we want in the caption. We can make it fun. We cannot. So all of those things. Our word posts, when we make it connect with the culture, like with the what was that one with the entanglement of debt?
Oh, Will Smith.
With Will Smith. It hits better with Jadakiss at the verses. Like, you know, so learning those things are important, and that's why it's not just like I'm just showing up.
Yeah. So that's how we kind of gain traction on just the brand itself by realizing what we need to do, what we need to strategize, and what we need to change. But then, like you said, this is also if you Google it, the Hartrimony, you know, we've shown up in multiple places, but also we got to show,
Some publications.
Yeah, so we got to show up the way we show up. But then also, it's like you said, it's a business.
Oh, it's definitely
it has a bank account. It's a business, and we still got to continue to work.
Still continue to work. And we now have a business coach that helps with, I mean, we speak to her a lot about like the course and developing that and making it grow, but it's still with our brand of it because we won't have the course without the Hartrimony, right? It is its own website. Like if you go on Cleaning Business University, you ain't seen nothing about Hartrimony on there. You may see a little bit about us, but it is its own website. However, it's part of this brand. And so this has really help with the circle of life.
What's this Lion King circle of life
that we have going on, and people that we connect with too. So outside of just people that are doing the same things that we are doing, or not necessarily doing the same things, because people are doing vending machines and notaries and other things, but just like with you guys, regular people that we found, like, oh, I went to high school with this person, or like a cousin like that hit you up and be like, ain't many black people with the last name Hartzog. So like,
oh yeah,
I know we got to be family somewhere, or just cousins that I haven't connected with in a while. It's not that I didn't know who they were, but just haven't connected with a while. So different things are happening there. And I think it also helps to connect with people back home.
Definitely.
Even, I mean, I can speak to you and text with you all the time, but to know what's happening in our day to day, we show up with that on Instagram. Like we show that there.
And you really build, I want to say, an extended family too.
Yeah.
We, like you said, the cousins and stuff. We have people who really show up for us.
Like in lives or in comments, we can know exactly. We're like, this person is always here. This person is always commenting. This person is always saying something. Or, you know, we have ads running and people say, well, this is a scam. And people was like, well, if you think it's a scam, move forward. Why they continue to change
you
lives?
Got people that show up to protect you sometimes.
Yeah. They're like, they continue to save lives. Just keep it moving. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And it's not just about that type of notoriety, but knowing that you're able to impact people's lives. And we didn't know that we was going to be doing this, 4 years ago. It was like, all right, just an Instagram page. It was just a cute thing that we were doing to document it.
And social media has grown too. Social media has taken on a different dynamic at this point too. And how you utilize it, of course, is important, but it is so much bigger. Like the impact, and you see people say comments like, you helped me to have my first business and we were just there, or like, you changed my life, or I'm always rooting for you guys. Strangers that we never met, maybe we'll never meet. I mean, if we do a meetup, maybe they can fly out. But
Hartrimony meetup.
Hartrimony meetup. you see some of that, and then you really see the impact. And we talk about that too. Like we're like on a hamster wheel with a lot of things, and we just keep going. And every once in a while we sit back and be like, we do a lot.
We definitely do.
We do a lot, and we impact a lot of people, and we don't necessarily recognize it, even though people do say it, but we don't necessarily recognize it all the time.
So when do you sit back and kind of think about, what's next for us too? Because I'm always thinking about what's next. So with the Hartrimony brand, what do you kind of see it being in the future?
What do I see it being in the future?
What would you like it to be in the future? What would you envision it to be?
So I want us to move over to YouTube. That's a big thing that I've been saying. But because of the time commitment, consistency, we've been kind of slacking on that. I mean, we do have a YouTube there with like over 500 subscribers. So we've had videos on there. We just haven't showed up consistently there. What else would I want for the Hartrimony? Continue to build community is important for me. I think that it's not just follower count, but it's kind of some of those things that we spoke about, like those people that are like ride or die for you, or like super followers or impact for you. I want to continue to do in our stories, on our page, however we kind of show up. I would like to continue to do that.
I agree. And then being two black kids from Brooklyn, New York, and from the projects, talking about becoming multimillionaires sometime soon. It sounds crazy when you say it out loud.
Oh, it's very crazy. It's very crazy. We went from having debt and never considering paying off debt to paying it off 2018, and then soon to be millionaires sometime soon. Sheesh. Right? Sometime soon is the phrase, because any day now, right? Any day now.
Sheesh.
So that is it's kind of it's mind-boggling, because I never thought pay off debt, but never thought that I would be a millionaire.
Why is that?
That wasn't, it's just not what you know or think of. It's not what you, I don't know who teaching me. You got to ask my parents? Like, who you want to ask?
I don't know.
It's not what I ever heard of. And not to say I don't have millionaires in my family. I possibly could, and I just don't know. Right?
So that's what the issue is then. People don't have to share what their pockets entails, what their pockets are.
Right.
But talking about money more in our communities too, which is another reason why we started it.
Talking about it to make it make it just a conversation that you can have with your partner, with your friends, with your family, and like our friends, we're very open about finances.
You could Google our salaries, like it's out there.
Yeah, but even outside of that, we still talk about stuff together. Like we the NITB, like that is.
What's that?
NITB is something. Did you make that up? I don't remember. Not in the budget was something that Anthony would say when, like, if we have to fly to New York, and he'd be like NITB.
So
and my friends are like, it's in the budget. It's in the budget.
So that came up when we was doing parties, and I would say it's not in the. I was saying it's not in the
parties?
Budget. New York.
Oh, like we would go in like bottles or stuff like that.
No, I'm talking about the barbecues.
Oh, the barbecues.
And I was like, no, that's not in the budget.
You were doing with your people.
And it was an NITB, and I was like, that became like a thing.
Yeah, so it was the thing. Like, so our family, have that family and friends. We consider friends family. We do everything together, honestly. Yeah. You probably think some of my friends are my family. We do everything together, but I think we, and maybe this generation as well, speak a bit more about finances, speak a bit more openly about it, and not just salary, just kind of like, what are you doing with your stocks? People talk about, or what are you doing with investment property? You talk about, and we shared on social media, like when we did, we're coming into 2020, we're half million. No, is it half millionaires?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, so 500K net worth. Yeah. And so we have those conversations with friends and family. So I think we're sharing it. But when you ask me, like, why did I never think you was going to be a millionaire? Did you think you were going to be a millionaire?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, it's just our upbringing. I think growing up, you don't have an idea as to what a millionaire looks like.
That's true.
That's true.
I don't know. You assume with movies and everything.
You think Richie Rich is a millionaire.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
I should see that soon. I haven't seen that so
You
long.
think Richie Rich is what a millionaire looks like, and you're in your mind. That's
they had to be
what it is.
multimillionaires. There's no way they only had 1 million.
Exactly. So now you know.
Now you have a concept of it.
Now you have a concept, but then there's this whole thing called the millionaire next door, where they're the unassuming millionaire, where they driving the Toyota or the Prius or something like that, and they live in a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
We could be a millionaire next door.
Yeah, I don't want to though.
Oh, I'm just
Nah, I'm not. I used to be my mom's like, yeah, I want to be an unassuming millionaire.
No. Okay, that's not my mindset, because I am ready to spend when time is necessary. But I'm saying, if you think about it, because we live in an apartment, and we done that because that's what worked for us, the convenience of calling someone to change a light bulb. So that's what we've done, and that works for us. But I'm thinking, would our neighbors think that we are millionaires? No,
not at all.
I don't think they would think that.
I wear my do-rag outside.
Yes.
And you like, a millionaire can't have a do-rag. Actually, they can. But you would assume most millionaires
because it's
don't.
kind of like, just what do they look like? And like you said, growing up, you just have this perception that millionaires look like white people.
And they drove the BMW, the Mercedes.
Or they're in a limo.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's really it. You understand, like, basketball players and stuff like that are millionaires too, but the day-to-day person that you may rub against would be that was the description.
Going back to it, we never spoke about money growing up, so only thing you know is what you see on TV. You see Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, and you see these guys, the Waldorfs or something like that, and they were millionaires, multimillionaires, and that's what your idea is. They had the limo, they had the driver, they had the suits, they lived in Midtown Manhattan. And that was, to live in Midtown Manhattan,
you have to have something.
You gotta have some money.
You got something.
But they had all of the above, so that's what your millionaire status looks like. Growing up as a black kid in Brooklyn.
And then I guess it's like, when does your mind start to shift that a millionaire can look like you?
When I
started listening to podcasts.
When I started becoming a millionaire, but then also podcasts, being exposed to other stories, you start seeing. All right, you're like, wait, you got this type of. You start saying, you got that type of money. Oh, you got to
check yourself.
We were on a podcast with two younger a black couple, and they were like multimillionaires building a house, and it was like, wow, I wouldn't have never assumed that, but. Why would I not assume it?
Yeah. Why are you assuming that they can't be?
Yeah. So
shifting your mindset and your thought process too is
when
important.
I started seeing more people like me and not saying that they had to have chains and they had to have cars and things like that. They were just people living their lives and the way they wanted to live it.
Right. Exactly.
So that changed the game for me.
Yeah. You're right. You do have to shift that mindset and be mindful of your own biases that you have against people and thinking what it is. So I don't think I really thought about us being a millionaire. Even after paying off debt, I don't really think it was processing. But once we paid off debt and started to kind of like stack up more and do more investing or just hearing other people's things, that's when it kind of dawned on me. And that's when last year I said, what did I say? I think I said by 40.
About 40?
I think I said by 40, I was like, let's try to be millionaires by 40. And you're usually the one like, all right, let's push this goal up. You know, like, why are we waiting until 40? So I think I said by 40, and I think I was talking about I don't know if I was talking about your 40 or my 40, somebody 40.
Somebody 40.
Let's try to be millionaires by then. And then we came into this year at a 500K net worth. And we'll see how we end this year.
Yeah. we are closer than what we would be by the end of this year. But then again, it just goes back to us sharing our Hartrimony journey, but then also getting into different spaces with other people who were doing it. That changed our mindset completely. Now we know there's other opportunities out there. We know there's other types of people out there. We know there's other networks out there that we got into. And then also we realized that we could build this brand into a business.
Yeah. So how do you start to monetize the business, which is kind of what we spoke about, which is why I want to get on YouTube, because you can monetize there, and we have a lot to talk about. So, but this will be there, so it'll be okay. We'll get there somehow. We have a lot to talk about, so I say that's one side of it. And then monetizing just by, like you said, with the courses is another way that we monetize our Hartrimony page.
But it allows you just to monetize your knowledge and your information. Like, so you start sharing, you start a brand, or you start something that people can attach themselves to, or you attach yourself to, which is the Hartrimony, and now people hear your story all the time. They understand your story. You get people who are interested in your story
in other countries, in other states,
and then now they can relate to you because they look like you. They sound like you. So now they're interested in everything you got to say, but then also they want to know how you got to where you are. So now you can monetize your information. So we did that by creating a course. Our first course was teaching people how to get out of debt, because we started talking about this.
That's what we did. Yeah.
And we only talk about things we do, or things we know how to do, or things we have come across. Yeah. So we're not teaching anyone anything that we haven't done or have some sort of insight into. So we talked about our debt-free journey, and that's what kind of kicked things off for us in terms of monetization, like just the brand for the Hartrimony.
So does that mean that you'll have a course on podcasting?
Nah, probably not at least for 2 years or something, like, or a year or two, and then we're making some money from it. We got to be making serious money, and then we built our cleaning business course. We've been doing the cleaning business for 4 years. We built the course year 3, right?
2.5,
3 years into the business, and we built it because people were asking questions on the Hartrimony page, the brand page about it. So,
and that's another thing when people ask, well, how do I know what to like what course to drop, or how can I monetize my page?
Monetize your information.
Yep.
Monetize your knowledge.
Thing. So you always say, like, what do people come to you for? What do people ask you about? You probably can monetize that.
Yeah,
we think about it. What do family and friends ask you about?
Yeah, we built a multi-6-figure brand from our hashtag, our wedding hashtag, which is absolutely nuts. Multi-6 figures.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
And when we just started, it was just a cute hashtag to do.
Yeah. And you just start sharing, and you be yourself, you're sincere, and people will come to you. Let people know what your expertise is, or what your knowledge is. And that is another thing. Like, you don't even have to be the most knowledgeable, whatever the most knowledgeable is. People just want to get to where you are. So you're just like ahead somehow. Like, so there's been people that are in the cleaning business longer than us, of course. And they will have more knowledge than us. But those of you, some of you just want to get to the point that we're at, and then you continue to grow from there. So I think people also sometimes think, oh, I need to know more, or I don't really know how to do this part of it. Just get people to your part, and that can be enough as well.
Well, you got to have some information. Don't just start.
Well, yeah.
Don't just start, and then day one, you're like, all right, I want to get people to day one. There's people that do that. It's like, oh, I got my first property, and I'm going to teach you how to do real estate. Nah, I would never teach somebody real estate from my first and only property.
Having some type of proof as well, I think it's important. Some type of proof would be important for people to vouch for you.
I did one cleaning, and I'll teach you how to start a cleaning business. Nah, we've been doing this. We were doing this for 4 years. We've been doing this 2.5 years before we launched the course.
Yes. And in it fully. Like, we don't have, even to this day, we don't have an operations manager. The plan is to do so, but and we've been in it completely in the business. So
someone asked us about starting a virtual assistant business, and we said we don't know how.
We have no idea.
We've never started one.
No, we just bought the business. So we refer you to somebody that we know that do help with that. Yeah. And that's the thing with having a network. We can refer you to people. Like, we don't need to take it all in. We don't need to do it all. Like, if we don't know it, I have no problem referring you to somebody else. If you ask me about the cleaning business, I'm refer you to me. Yeah.
Of course.
Because honestly, I don't know anybody else doing it. And even if I did, I'm gonna refer you to me. But that's another thing with having those connections. We have like a Rolodex of information, of people to go to for vending machines, people to go to for rental cars, people to go to for investment properties, all these things that you build those relationships with as well.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things I think we got out of building this brand, was just the network itself. Yeah. Honestly, the money comes and goes. The Good Morning Americas come and go, but the network we have, like, I was speaking to someone. You can't
change that.
Someone I met on social media, I just called them for some life-changing information the other day. Like, I sat down, I was in the gym, and I needed help with a decision that only another entrepreneur would understand. And none of our immediate friends are entrepreneurs. Yeah, we were talking about me leaving my job, and I said, "Yo, listen, I talked to family and friends, and they was like, yo, you crazy? Keep the job." And I called someone who left their job, and they've been working as an entrepreneur for 14, 16 years, and he was like, we sat down, we went through the pros and the cons, and he gave me the confidence to say, yo, you might want to just leave your job. Yeah. But friends and family couldn't do that because they'd never been there before.
There's only one side of it for them. Yeah. There's only one side for it.
But he has both sides.
Yeah, because he has left his job, went back to the job,
and left the job
again.
So now he knows what he's talking about at that point.
And it's not 2 years. You said, that 16 years, that makes a difference as well. But Yeah, so that is what the Hartrimony has been.
Yeah.
That it has been, it's a brand, but it's also like part of our life. It's also our business, and it continues to grow. And we hope it continues to grow and impact people the way that we plan to, the way that we're intentional about that as well.
Yeah. No, that's really what it is, man. We just want to keep sharing. We want to keep sharing our stories, sharing other people's stories. Eventually, we'll get to the point where we may have somebody else on the podcast outside of us. So that
we will. We mean may.
You never know. We might want to just keep this thing going with just us.
Okay, yeah, maybe. That's the intention to bring other people on. But if you're liking what you're hearing, make sure that you leave us a review, please. If you're on YouTube watching us, subscribe, like, comment, share it with other people. We're just getting started. We're just warming up, and we are excited to continue to grow with this podcast.
Thank you guys for listening to the Hard Sock Hustle. We truly appreciate it. Again, remember, listen, you could dream all you want, but the hustle is what's going to get you there. Peace.
Have a good night. Take care.